Okay, challenge science update. We've had a great start to the year so far. The kids are really great. A lot of kids are showing up for help desk. We have a lot of kids that come in every morning and work together during SSS, and a lot of kids are making new friends, really building on the friendships that they have, because these kids most of them are going to be together a lot throughout the high school in these honors classes. So a lot of times in the morning when they come in for help or to work with each other, they're building a lot of camaraderie, they're sharing ideas, working together. Sometimes we even play music, just to kind of bring more excitement, make it more of an event, make challenge science itself more of a fun event than it already is. Even though it's grueling, it's hard, it's a lot of work, but we have this philosophy, we'll work hard, but we'll also play hard. Okay, and you're going to see how we play hard throughout the year, and obviously we're going to work hard throughout the year. So we want to try to make this a fun, yet challenging, engaging, more of like an event for these kids, because these kids had a lot of courage to take this class, and there's a huge commitment that goes with that. So as long as they continue to put forth a strong commitment towards the class, we're going to make sure that they try to also, while doing that, have a lot of fun and build a lot of camaraderie. So it's been really cool. Kids are really nice in class, just have a great demeanor. It's serious. We move through a lot of material, but they have a great sense of humor. And it's really been a fun start to the year so far. As far as what we're learning, first chapter is just the basics. We talked about mass, volume, properties of water, which was pretty neat. Into this chapter, we're going to be learning about the concept of density, not just memorizing if something floats or sinks. We'll talk about microscopically, what does it mean to be dense? What does it mean to not be dense? How does that affect real life? We'll also get into the difference between physical and chemical change, throughout this month of October. And that'll start to lead us into our hardcore chemistry chapter, where we learn about, the basics of the atom and what an isotope is. But we're also going to go head first into the periodic table. And it's not just memorizing, silver is Ag. We're going to do that. And I'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to look at the periodic table from the point where, why is potassium on the left side? Why is krypton on the right? Why does it have to be there? So we're going to learn about these things called groups and families. We're going to learn about why certain things kind of go together and why they don't, why they bond together and they don't. But then we're also going to learn, in that first column, why is lithium still, which is really reactive, why is it not as reactive as the stuff at the bottom? Looking at the structure of the atom, why does that structure lead to its reactivity? It's called atomic radius. We're going to talk about ionic radius. We're going to talk about, electronegativity. All these different concepts that go way beyond just, hey, Ag is silver on the periodic table. So we expect that your child will leave here with a deep understanding of chemistry and a really good, strong foundation of understanding of physics. So over the next month or so, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be intense. It's going to be hard, but we're going to try to make it as fun as possible. And back to this work hard, play hard mentality. Today I'm going to put on the Google Classroom site the 72 elements and symbols your child needs to memorize. And they have a month to do it. And each year we have this parade on Halloween. We call it the Element Madness Parade. And on Halloween, the 31st, we have something called Element Madness, where it's like the NCAA March Madness tournament, where two kids will go against each other to move on in the next round. And through this tournament, you'll hear more about it as the month goes on. And whoever wins, and all they have to do is know the name and the symbol of the element. Whoever wins doesn't have to take the element test the next day. And it's also bragging rights. So we geek that up a bit. And that morning, we've made this crazier throughout the years. We said to the kids, if you want, it's your choice, you don't have to. You may bring a costume, it's optional, to school that, shows what element you are. And a lot of people sometimes will dress as a cow, because cows have milk which has calcium, so that's calcium. I had a kid wear a t-shirt covered in nickels, because nickel, the element nickel. And we wear this, they put on the costumes, and then that morning in SSS we actually have a parade. Now, I guess the elementary schools have their parade and their costumes. Well, we do the same thing here. And you can still participate in the parade even if you don't have a costume. We get the challenge science kids, and I'm going to get a megaphone this year. And we're going to walk around the building in the morning in SSS. I'm sure we'll disturb people, but hey, it's learning, we're having fun, whatever. And we're going to chant the elements and symbols all in unison. So we're going to call it Springford's Educational Parade. We're going to study for our element test and element madness, and we're going to parade and be loud at the same time. Because again, the kids are going to be working hard, but we also want to make it an event. We want to make it memorable, and we want to make it fun. So that'll be on the 31st. You'll get more information about that as the time goes on. But we just finished our first test, and the kids, it was challenging. It's going to get harder as the year goes on, obviously, but the kids are now starting to see, wow, the types of test questions he asked. We learned the topic in class, but the scenario he gave us was nothing we did in class. And that's the point. Sometimes these kids are going to have to learn that in harder honors and AP courses, that teachers will test you on things that the same material, but it looks different. It's not, okay, here's your essay, here's a scenario, you're going to, do it again the next day. These kids have no idea what I'm going to pull out. We talk about gas laws in the test, and there are these examples about ping pong balls I never mentioned in class, but they had to apply the correct law to justify why a ping pong would expand if you put it in hot water. It's just a lot of this course is application. The other thing your child will start to see is different types of multiple choice questions where one could be right, two could be right, none of the above are right. So there's a lot of different things we're exposing your child to help, not to scare them, because not every high school class is going to be hard. I mean, a lot of them could be. But we want to make them aware of, if a teacher gives these kind of tests, how do I effectively prepare? How do I effectively manage my time on a test? Do I do the essays first, or do I do the multiple choice? There's a lot of discussion beyond science that we talk about to get your child ready for these honors and AP courses. Because again, I like to try to prepare them for worst case scenario. Okay? We also talked about, we just went over the tests today, or yesterday. We talked about when a teacher goes over an exam with you, you can't just sit there and stare. No matter what grade you get, sometimes it's hard. If you fail a test, you don't want to hear about anything. You feel really down. But what I've done was, I've given your child an outline of all the topics that we're covering through December. Because we're going to have this midterm exam, even though it's not a midterm exam, something like that in December, you'll hear about that. Where the kids they're going to be given an outline. I gave them this today, 3 months before we give those exams. I want them, as we go over a test, there to list their strengths and their weaknesses, okay, as we go over the test. And that's the time they, ask questions. Because this year, a lot of times, if they're weak in something in Chapter 1, that same topic needs to be known to understand Chapter 2. Okay, and if you don't understand it 1, you don't do anything to fix it in Chapter 1, you're going to be in trouble for Chapter 2. Because a lot of times in honors and AP courses, material does build. So what I'm trying to do is establish a discipline. When your teacher goes over a test, write down strengths and weaknesses, and then you go back and you study harder your weaknesses. And when you look at a midterm or final exam or an AP exam, when you have 10, 15 chapters to study through, if you wrote down your strengths and weaknesses, won't that make studying more efficient? You'll still spend time on your strengths, but you'll make sure you make a note to spend more time on your weaknesses. So we're having a lot of these conversations beyond the concept of density and the concept of gas laws. We try to really build a well-rounded, academically focused student in this class. And again, we provide all these tools. We provide all this conversation. It's up to your child to buy in and commit and do these things. Because if it becomes habit, when they're faced with challenges at the high school, they have all these tools that they've received here, we hope, that they can rely on, that might make that difference between a B, B+, or an A or an A+ in a hard honors AP level course. So we're doing a lot of that discussion. We're also encouraging kids, we're teaching them something called RABBIT, restate, answer, back it up, and then it's done. It's a mnemonic to help them answer open-ended prompts correctly. Because a lot of times in open-ended questions in this course, sometimes kids answer something so beautifully, but they forget one piece of the question. So this is a way to kind of help them organize their answers, helps them also to articulate the material appropriately. So we're also talking about how to write properly, how to prepare for, midterm, final exams properly, how to take accountability, assess what you know and don't know. I keep posting the homework on Google Classroom every night. It's up to your kid to time manage and spread things out, move ahead, slow down, whatever they need to do. So there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of hard work, but we're also really trying to get your child to become more of a disciplined, focused student. We also ask that, while the kids are studying at home, we ask that, we take notes in class. I mean, you can't bring home what we did in class unless you write it down. We do a lot of demos. I don't really teach out of a textbook. So we have the kids really write down what demos we did. We did a hallway density demo today, which is not in the book. Now, the density definition's in the book, and another example is, but this is very clear and very hands-on and very understandable. But they're not going to remember unless they write it down. And then it's really important, like at night, if they rewrite these notes, it forces them to think and apply the material they learned in class. They review it at night. So continue to encourage your child to rewrite notes. Stay ahead. Ask questions. But most importantly, have fun. It's going to be tiring, but I think the support is there. And as long as your kid continues to buy in and try and work hard and, through the good and bad, stick with me through the good and bad, I think they're going to have a great year. Really pleased with the progress of the kids in the high school. The feedback I get is keep doing what we've been doing, keep being hard. In fact, some kids say I should be harder. Well, it's only 8th grade. I mean, I'm not going to get much harder than this. There comes a point where it's insane. But, a lot of these things that we do here, these little tips do help them down the road. All right, so that's the challenge science portion of the video. I'll try to make one of these once every month or so, because I think, this is a big commitment, this class. I want to make sure that, I try to be as transparent and as clear as possible throughout the year so we can best help your child. All right, so that being said, traditional science course. We've had a lot of fun to start the year. In fact, our first test is tomorrow in Chapter 1. Your child was given a study guide. Every study guide is in the back of the packet. And we encourage your child, for homework, we have them do a little bit of the study guide throughout the chapter to help prepare them so they're not doing it last minute. Mrs. Boyer and myself have done review over and over again. But we've also tried our best to really, bring to life a lot of this material that your child is learning. We're learning about matter, mass, volume. We also learned about the difference between a solid, liquid, and gas. So we've had the kids pretend they're, solid, liquid, and gas atoms, and how do they behave. I've tried something new this year where we actually have Fruit Loops cereal. And we looked at, and I made Fruit Loops cereal like compounds and molecules and atoms, and we pretend they were mixtures, and we separated them. So it's just we try our best to be very visual, very hands-on to help your child understand this abstract material as well as they can. Today we did a demonstration with soap, Ivory soap in the microwave. We measured the volume of the soap bar, I think it was 40 cubic centimeters, and we measured its mass, so it was about 84 grams. You put it in the microwave, all of a sudden that nice bar of soap just becomes this huge, here, it becomes this right here. This is the Ivory bar of soap. So then we had the kids measure the mass. Now the mass was actually 4 grams less, but the volume went up significantly, but it's the same soap. So we talked about where did that 4 grams of mass go, and how could you measure this volume with a mathematical formula? Because before we could, and that gets into liquid displacement. So we really try to, I just pulled out of the trash can. So we really try to make this as hands-on and as relevant and as fun but challenging as possible for your child. We've also offered Science Help Desk every Thursday after school. So we encourage your child to show up for that. Attendance is improving, but it needs to get better than that. So we'd like you to encourage your child to please attend. Also, we have a test review during SSS tomorrow morning. We've offered passes to any kid that wants it from those 3 classes. We will review for tomorrow's test, and we expect your child to do really well. So your test is tomorrow. We're going to start Chapter 2, which gets into physical and chemical change and density. So, like I said, I will try to have a review, a parent video each month, so you have an idea of where we're at in the course, okay, throughout the year, so you know what your child is learning, and you can also be aware of the skills we're trying to instill with your child. 2 of those things I wanted to talk about, those skills, were, one of them was rabbit. I'm sure you may have heard of it before. It's spelled, in this case, R-A-B-I-T, and R means restate, A means answer, B means because, and then I don't use the other B. It means it's done, right? A conclusion sentence. So what we're trying to do is when a child in the traditional class sees an open-ended question, we're trying to help them organize their answers so they have more confidence and they know how to communicate their ideas properly. So R, again, they restate the question so they don't forget part of it. Answer, give me the right answer. And a because, tell us why. Why is it? What are the atoms doing? What are the molecules doing? Why did the heat go in there? What did the heat do to those atoms? And then give me a conclusion sentence. So that's one of the skills we're currently working on right now. We're calling it rabbiting, and we're going to try to improve your child's ability to articulate and understand the science. The help is there. Your child can see Mrs. Boyer and myself anytime during SSS. We do have passes, and it's been a great start to the year so far. So please email if you have any questions. We hope you find this video helpful. You also noticed that I sent you an email last week. We try to, for each chapter, have a review video. So not only do we have the packet, we've got the study guide, we've got Science Help Desk, we've got review the day of the test. There's also a chapter review video which the kids can watch 24/7 if they can't make that help desk. And that's just another piece of support that we provide to make sure your child understands the material. So it's been a great year so far, and we're going to try to continue to update you each month with what's going on in science class. All right, that's it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again next month. Thanks. Bye-bye.